Welcome everybody. It's great to have you back here today looking at Enterprise Architect Toronto. We're starting a new series where we're looking at Collaborator, and in particular we're looking at a number of different dashboard creation widgets. And for our first item in this series, we're looking at the rich text widget. My name's Scott Hebbard and I'm joined today by Stephen Maguire. Welcome, Stephen. What can you tell us about the rich text widget and how can you use it in Collaborator in order to create fantastic dashboards?
Thanks for the introduction, Scott, and always a pleasure to be here. Yes, we're going to look at the rich text widget. So let's get straight into this. You can see on the screen now I've got the home page for Enterprise Architect Toronto, two tools, Designer and Collaborator, and we're going to be looking at Collaborator. I've got that open in another tab, so we'll flick over to that. And what you see immediately is the kind of thing that everyone that comes into Collaborator will see, a dashboard. And the dashboard can be curated for a particular audience, whether that's a group of people like executives or a particular executive like a chief financial officer, chief technical officer, or individuals. So, lots of different opportunities there to have dashboards for a particular audience. Let's get straight into this. This is a dashboard that we're looking at that we're going to build over this series, and it's got a number of different types of widgets. You can see there that each one of these, I guess these little tiles here are widgets. So we've got, this one at the top here, this Welcome to Arcassurance Home dashboard. We've got a number of other widgets. We're showing diagrams and all sorts of information. Let's get straight into it, Scott. I'm going to change repositories now into our demo repository, and I'm going to do that here, and I'll choose repositories there. And I've got a number of repositories that I've got access to. We'll open that up. It opens up as a default dashboard. So we might create a number of different dashboards. One of those will be chosen as the default dashboard for a particular audience, for a particular user. This is a generic dashboard that comes out of the box with the tool. And so this is what you're going to see. And this isn't a live dashboard. It's just got some examples of the kind of things that you can do. So let's have a look up here, Scott. Across the top of the application Collaborator, we've got a number of different menu items there. Dashboards is the one that we're interested in. Let's click that down, and we've got here search. If we've got a number of them, we're going to go create. So let's go and create another dashboard there, and we'll go that there. Give a self-explanatory name to the dashboard. So let's call this text there, Arcassurance Home Dashboard. Now we've got the status here, and it says it's active. While we're building this dashboard, Scott, it's probably a good idea just to keep it into that inactive mode. And we're not going to make this into a template. We'll talk about that later. We have the opportunity of making this into a template that can be reused. So you can see here we've got a big frame here, which
area for widgets,
ready for our widgets, and we've got click here to add the widget. So we can click there or down in the bottom right hand corner there. That's going to, both of those are going to add the widget. So from there we get two choices: add from the widgets library. We haven't built up a library yet, but that's going to be something that we'll look at, so we can again reuse things from that widget library. We're going to say add new, and we get now a choice of different types of widgets. And so we're going to look at these over the series of these dashboard videos. And we've got text, images, rich text, hyperlinks, diagrams, charts, reports, and under a number of these there are a whole range of other widgets as well. We're going to go for the rich text one there. We click on that, and you can see now that it's highlighted in that color there, and we can choose either add the widget from there or down in the bottom right hand corner. Let's choose it from here, add the widget, and now we've got a rich text editor. So we can put, it looks
very similar to like a word processor with all the different options you've got. Yeah,
exactly, Scott. So let's put some text in there to start off with, and welcome to the Arcassurance Home Dashboard. So immediately something we might want to do is center that. We've got these particular features here to center it. We might want to make that bigger than what it is, so we can say, look, let's make that into heading 2, something like that. Heading 3, whatever we want to do, and we've got the ability to change the font size as well. So let's make it 18 there, and let's put it back to paragraph style. So we can do anything we want. It's just a normal text editor. Let's put some other text in here, Scott, that's going to explain, what this is about. Again, I'm just going to have some pre-text that I've already created. Just go down there and type that text in there. Yep. Now, again, we probably want to center that. So let's do center that. And, maybe we want a little bit of space there. So, that then has got our text into there.
Is it possible to do things like change colors and change the look of the text?
Yeah, great question, Scott. And, as always, think about the audience that you're doing to make it compelling for the audience, make it something that they'll want to look at. So select it all there and, let's go, look, we change the color to that color. So, we've done that. Let's just say save to that. And we'll see what looks like. Maybe we'll make this bold, this heading bold. You're talking about that. Let's make that bold and let's save that. Now this saves the widget. And so the widget's saved over there, but we haven't saved the dashboard yet. So let's save our dashboard down the bottom right-hand corner. We've got that save option. And now you can see that we've got our first widget on the dashboard. So this is the beginning of very many widgets we might add to a dashboard. But when we look at it and say, oh, people have to scroll through that to get the information.
It'd be better if it went right across the width of the screen.
Yeah, great call. Great call, Scott. So again, this is the process that we go through. We create the widget, we format it a bit, we do the things that we need to do, add the content, and then we can go edit again here. So we'll choose edit there. And again, now we've got the option to do things with it. Now we're not inside the widget at this point. We're just looking at the widget in relation to the rest of the dashboard. So your comment going right across, I think that's a great call. Let's just select that. And you can see as I'm going across, a series of tiles are there. And that's going to show me how, the extent of my my widget. So I'm going to drag it, all the way across there. I think I got to the edge, yeah. And now the widget's going all the way across. That looks, that looks quite good. And let's see what that looks like. And we'll say save to that. And there's our dashboard. That looks quite good, but it's not really striking. So, let's do something else here, and let's go back into it, and let's change the text background. So we're inside the dashboard now, but not inside the widget. We can choose this guy here to configure it, and let's configure that. And now let's make this text white on here. And we'll just say, we'll choose white and we'll put it on a blue background. So we'll save that. And let's change the background. And we do that through this little settings one, Scott. We can say, look, let's change the title background, the body background. So let's do that. And we'll put a color there, and we can just choose that color. I can do it from the picker. I just had a particular color there. So let's go OK to that. And you can see over here now that that's the color.
Gives you a bit of a preview of what it looks like.
Yeah, preview of what it's going to look like. And the title of the widget, well, actually, we want the title background to be the same color. So let me just go and pick that color. Again, I'll just paste that one in, make sure it's the same color there. And I'll choose for the title background, I'll choose the same color. Yep. And so let's save that. And that's save the widget. Now we need to save the dashboard. And, there we have the welcome.
It stands out much more now.
Yeah. And a subtlety, Scott, we didn't put a title in for this particular widget. If we go and have a look, and I'm just going to mention this in passing, but we'll see it as we go forward into some other things. We didn't put a title in because we don't want a title on this home.
And you've already got text there. So having a text title is probably a bit redundant.
Exactly. So let's have a look at this. The other thing is that I want to talk about is that there's this option here to say maximize widget, enable to see maximize icon on hover. So I don't want people to do that. I don't want them to maximize it. So I'm going to disable that, and that will stop people from making this widget bigger. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we look at another widget. So everything looks fine there. Let's save that. And, we've got our first our first rich text.
Our
Let's
first
go and add
rich text widget.
yeah, let's go and add a little bit more information here. So let's add another text widget. So we'll go edit and we'll do something slightly different. So we've got our dashboard. We come into our dashboard. Again, we're going to say add a widget and add new. And again, we'll choose the rich text one. And again, we'll say, you know, add the widget, or we can do it from down the bottom there. So we add the widget. Now we've got another widget. And so let's do something here where we're going to add an image. So we can choose an image, insert an image there, and I'm just going to put that onto another screen and get an image, and we'll save that in there. And now we've got an image that just came from one of my local files, Scott, and I can now shape this thing and say, look, that's a little bit too big. It's got, you know, good resolution, but I don't want it to be quite that big. Let's make it that big, and you know, let's put some more text in. So again, I've got some text that I had earlier. Let's do a few things at the same time. So, you know, we've got this text here. Let's change the color of that text, and let's make it into that orange color there. And also let's, you know, look at, change the background there rather than that. I change the text, and let's look at making this one bold there as well. So, you know, I've got that now, and I'm going to say save to that. And this time I do want to put in a title for it. So I might want to put in something like, you know, organization overview. So we've got that there. Now, again, is this widget the right size? So I've saved the widget, but I can now say, look, I want to make this a different size. So maybe that's a good size to have. And the other thing is I might want to change the background again of my widget. So if I looking at this, I might say, look, I want to change the title background, and I'll just choose a color here and say, look, let's again, I can select that and say, look, I want to make it that color there. And let's go okay to that. Now I want to say, look, oh, actually, let's change the title text. Let's not do that. Let's change the background of that widget. So I'll leave that as white, and I'll change the title background is what I wanted to do. Yeah, and we can see that preview. I'm just going to title background, just move that out of the way, and let's just choose that one. Choose the color, and that's, you know, quite a good color. You can see the title is going to be in white. So we'll save that, and let's have a look now. So we save the got a title in it. Save the widget. Now we're going to save,
and then save the dashboard.
And there we go. There's our organization overview. Got our icon in there for Arch Assurance, and we've got a description of it. So quite a useful thing to do, no matter what you're doing, whether you're, you know, creating a dashboard for a particular reason. You might have an overview of your architecture, or you might have an overview of your business models or something like that. So it's up to the user how they want to do that, but you can see how this is starting to flesh out to be an expressive thing, telling a story. So I think that's it for this video, Scott, on the rich text widget, but this is an introduction to it. There are other more advanced things that we'll present in a later video.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Stephen. It's been great to have a look at the rich text widget and to see how easy it is to change color of the background, to change the font, to change the color and the look and feel of it, how you can add a title to your rich text, how you can move it around and give it certain tiles on the screen so that it takes up space accordingly. It's really good. For everyone watching today, thank you very much for joining us once again on our Enterprise Architect Torado journey. Today we've been looking at Collaborator, and we've started our series on dashboard creation. And this very first one is on rich text widgets. But if you have a look on the Sparx Systems YouTube channel, there will be many more videos in this series that look at all different types of dashboards in Collaborator. As always, thank you very much for your expertise and the information you've presented today, Stephen. It's been fantastic, and I look forward to seeing how to create many other types of dashboard widgets within Collaborator. So thanks so much.
Always a pleasure, Scott.